discussion. So I'll start about myself. So I come from Rajasthan, born and brought up in a small town. I don't know, Bikaner, आपने सुना होगा, Bikaner, Ganganagar. Dad was in police, so kept moving all over. I've been like fascinated with studying how human mind, human behavior as I was growing up, and that's why I went to IT Kanpur. I'm a 2017 grad in chemical engineering, but my minor was psychology. So I would like to just paint a brief picture around what does the entire gaming ecosystem first looks like, what are the various segments here. I think it would be a good idea for everyone to understand. Anywhere between 500 to 600 million people play games annually in India. And it's primarily a mobile market because we never had that console penetration in India. One of the biggest reasons is GDP per capita. Now, in the mobile gaming, there are two specific divisions. One is what we call as free-to-play gaming. Second is the RMG gaming. Free-to-play is, I'm assuming a bunch of you have played Candy Crush, Ludo King, all those kind of games. The primary difference there comes in terms of the monetization model. The free-to-play games monetize basically through advertisements and in-app purchases. So, but the problem there is India is a very nascent ecosystem when it comes to monetizing free-to-play games. So ad rates in India are still quite abysmal. Just to give one stat, revenue per download in India is 1/20th of what is in US. And the reason for that is very first principally, ad rates are directly tied to what your attention is worth. In any country where there is less GDP per capita, where there are lots of you, your attention inadvertently is not going to be worth a lot of money. That's why I will give another very interesting stat. At one time, PUBG was accounting for 35% from India, global downloads of PUBG, but revenue-wise it was less than 1%. So it's that stark a difference. I'm talking about the free-to-play gaming ecosystem. The second avenue in monetization in free-to-play games is in-app purchases. A bunch of you have played. It's like get these power packs, get this new skin for your avatar, all those kind of things. So for the longest time, that market has also not existed in India because most popular games are generally, even in India, are made outside India. They are generally made in Europe, US, China, all those kind of games. And they used to just not even care about putting the price points relevant for Indian audience. You will see they will put that $4.99, $7.99. So for the longest time, it was just not even feasible for Indian consumers to try that out. But then a big movement happened, big innovation happened, which was UPI. That allowed a lot of micro-transactional behavior to get established in that. So because of that, we are still seeing an uptick, but Indian audience paying for content is still not a very natural behavior. We are still learning that as a country. So the broad summary is, what I'm saying is, the free-to-play gaming ecosystem, while it has large volume, it is one of the largest volume of gamers in India, but in revenue-wise, it doesn't do very well. So the free-to-play gaming ecosystem is still very nascent. As per our estimates, the revenue annually would not more than be $1 billion in the free-to-play gaming space. And let's talk about another category altogether in the gaming space where we operate in. It's called as real money gaming. Some people call it skill-based gaming. All of them. So basically, in this, if you look at, I think the first very important thing to understand in this space is what is gaming and what is gambling. So the key difference, as by Constitution of India, as well as very Supreme Court judgment, is it all comes down to whether the game is dominantly skill or dominantly chance. The key word to notice here is dominantly skill, because there is no such thing as pure skill or pure chance. Even like, let's take cricket. Cricket is a high skill game, but it has an element of toss. Toss decides which team bats first or second. There can be so many elements. Dew could come in. There could be a massive disadvantage for the team bowling second. Even a game like chess has a major first mover advantage. It's decided randomly who goes first, right? So the key point here is again that there's nothing as pure skill, pure chance. The key definition is whether it's dominantly skill or dominantly chance. Now, the key question that comes here is how to determine whether something is dominantly skill or dominantly chance. for the longest time, it has been done in a subjective way. If you would study judgments, whether Indian court judgments globally, it was generally done on certain principles, right? If there is like a mental alertness angle to it, if there is some memorization aspect to it, if there is some analytical ability being used, but it becomes subjective. And till for innovation to really happen at a fast pace, we need to be able to define it very clearly. And so that's something we as Zupee took it upon ourselves to build an objective framework on this, not a subjective framework. So the approach we did was we studied all the literature that has ever been written by all the top institutes, so Harvard professors, Stanford professors, studied all the judgments and came up with a set of objective principles. Like the example I gave is like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. It's a scientific fact. It doesn't matter like what do you feel, what do you feel. So the same way whether the game is dominantly skill or dominantly chance should be a scientific mathematical problem to solve. It should not be subjective at all. Until we come up with these objective frameworks, the rapid pace of innovation can't happen because everyone will be stuck in their head. And courts can't be the way to determine whether game is a game of skill or game of chance because there are millions of games. So coming back to it, the real money gaming, the core principle on which it operates on is that games of dominantly skill are legal and are allowed. So now if you look at in this, there are three major categories inside the real money gaming space. You would have heard of these. One first is fantasy sports. You would have seen in that it has around 150 to 200 million users who play in this space annually, and it does around anywhere between ballpark $1.2 to $1.5 billion of gross revenue. Then the second category is card games. In card games, you would have heard of rummy and poker platforms. So it has again like actual people playing as per our estimate is between 40 to 50 million people annually. But again, as revenue wise, it's a big category. Rummy does anywhere between 1.5 to 1.8 billion dollar kind of revenue. Poker is still a nascent category, it's developing, and it would be doing anywhere between 300 to 400 million dollar kind of annual revenue. So these were the two categories which existed when we started, and what we saw was like all the platforms are just going after the same games. Like he's launching another poker platform, he's launching another poker, another fantasy, another rummy. So because of that, what happens is it suddenly becomes a red ocean in a business space. That means everyone is going after the same consumers. That means your customer acquisition costs are really flying. Everyone is deep incentivizing. That means your lifetime value or the margins are depleting.